Okay. Okay, let's see what the connection. Excellent connection. I think we're back. Yo, I'm so sorry, man. I had some crazy issues, but I think we're back, yo. Oh my god. I don't know if it started a different stream though. Let me see.
Yeah, it did. It
Oh
did.
man. Okay.
You started another one.
Let me see. Does the other one still show like it's live? Let's see. Videos live. Live. I'd like to continue where we left off, but maybe give people a chance to join.
Hmm.
Damn, this thing is lagging. Says the connection's good. 16 people here.
I'm trying to see the other one. See
Yeah,
if
the
there's
other one's
anybody in
closed.
that. Yeah, but there's when you left, there were still some people there.
Okay. And this one is called Part 2. What's up? Welcome. I'm sorry I had so many issues. I ran out of data on my tablet, but apparently my cell phone has 50 gigs, which I didn't know, of data. So I had to turn off my tablet and then put on the um, my cell phone and connect the USB. So in a second here, we're gonna get to this testimony because I really want to hear. This is really interesting what this guy had to say. One of the next door neighbors to both of them, Miss B. Thank you for coming back. Rough night. Yeah, man. It's been a while since I've done streaming, so things are gonna be a little bit rough to start. But I think we're back, and the connection is smooth so far. Let me switch the screen. Uh, Self capture. And I'll also rewind it just a little bit, just a little back, so we can remember what this guy was saying because this guy definitely has some interesting testimony. What I'll do is I'll up the quality just a little. You can see what this guy looks like a little better on screen. I want to see that Dragon Ball shirt, Dragon Ball Z shirt. And all right. And the reason you guys see me looking to the left, to the right, is because I have two screens here, and then I have my cell phone. Yeah, I know. The other chat was lit, man. We lost so many people. At least 200 people or 100 people we lost. Late night crew, man. And I have to be up super early. All right, so what I'll do is I'll just take it back a little bit and let it play while people are joining. This guy made me tear up a little. Yeah, I want to see the part. Some people are saying he started crying. It was really emotional, so I want to hear what he has to say. Oh, thanks, Tomex. I appreciate that. I honestly haven't been watching the trial as I should. I've been relying on you guys. I've been getting emails. I've been dealing with some personal stuff, so I haven't really been following it like I should. But what I've been doing is just late night kind of streaming and watching it over and giving some feedback. And I brought on Ricardo tonight. I like Ricardo because he brings on a different perspective. He's not somebody that always agrees with me. So.
Shoot, don't say you like me. You might lose friends because of that.
might lose 200 subscribers tonight because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make sure they don't look into my politic videos. Those videos set you off.
All right, please don't.
Oh my god! All right, so while we're getting people in here, I'm gonna start playing this. I rewinded it back like 2 minutes so we can hear this guy. I want to hear what he has to say. I'm gonna mute my mic. All right, here we go.
And then in 2016, you had a possession of controlled substance conviction.
Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know, this is the neighbor, and at this part here, they go into his history where they talk about his history of like narcotics or something like that and theft. And I totally understand why they did this because if you don't, somebody else is gonna tear it apart. So you might as well come out with what you have and continue on. So here we go.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a state jail felony.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want to direct your attention to September 6th, 2018.
Okay.
Where were you residing at the time?
Southside Flats,
What was your apartment number?
1437.
Earlier that day, did you get a visit from the leasing office?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the court about
The leasing people came, knocked on our doors, and it was like they had a noise complaint. It was around like 2 p.m. It was kind of odd because there wasn't no noise.
Okay, and you said our doors. When you say our, who are you referring to?
Both them door. They came and knocked on me and Bo's door, and just that's how I actually met him because he came out the door.
Okay. And that was on the day of September 6, 2018 at about 2 something in the afternoon?
Yeah, around like 1 or 2.
Okay. And you said it was for a purpose of a noise complaint, but there was no noise?
Right.
Okay. And that was your first time meeting both of them, John?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did y'all have a conversation that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What did y'all talk about?
Basically how me and Bo were both smoking weed, and we kind of knew that it was coming to our door because of maybe the scent of the weed.
Okay. And can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, where was your apartment in relation to Mr. John's apartment?
So if my apartment was right here, I could reach over. You know, Bo's apartment was probably like directly across from mine.
May I approach you, Sean?
Yes.
Now, Joshua, I'm showing you what's been marked and admitted as State's Exhibit 34B. Do you see your apartment on this location?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you said what was your apartment number?
1437.
Okay. And so your apartment would have been directly across from Mr. John's apartment in 1478?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you said had a brief conversation. After that interaction, did you, I guess, leave the apartment?
Yeah. No, I went back inside and played the game, and then that was about it. I left later on that night.
What was the purpose of you leaving later on that night?
To go watch a football game.
And where did you watch that at?
At Bombshells.
And because this particular day was kickoff season to the NFL, correct?
Yeah, the Falcons were playing. It was probably like a Thursday night game. Started NFL season. Yeah.
And you remember the Falcons playing?
Yeah, I think the Falcons and the Eagles were playing. I believe so.
Did you have any particular interest in any of those games?
Yeah, I know two. My cousin plays safety for the Falcons, and a friend of mine plays for the Eagles. So I just wanted to make sure I was there to watch the game.
Okay. And where did you watch the game at?
At Bombshells.
And where's that located?
Like off 35.
It's like 35 at Empire Central, up in that area?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you get to and from the game, Bombshells?
I took a lift. I knew I'd be having a few drinks, so I took a lift there and back.
When you returned to Southside Flats that evening, did you watch the entire game?
Nah, I left. No, ma'am. I left at halftime.
When you returned to Southside Flats that evening via lift, which way did you enter?
Through the elevator.
Okay. Was that the main elevator in the middle of the complex?
The elevator in the garage, in the parking garage.
May I approach you on?
Yes.
May the witness step down, Your Honor?
Yes.
Joshua, step down for a second. Yes, sir. Is that better? Okay. And Joshua, I'm gonna have you stand to the side, kind of like Donna White here, so they can see what we're doing, okay? Now, you say you entered to the parking garage. Does this look like a layout of the apartment complex, the Southside Flats? You can orientate yourself?
This should be the front. You have to come out from the water. You come at the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And based on this diagram, State's Exhibit 34A. Do you recognize where your apartment is located?
Mr. Brown, can you please raise your voice?
Yes, ma'am. It's right here to the top.
Okay, indicating
37.
1437. Okay. Now, you said you came up through the parking garage and got off the elevator. Where does that elevator drop you off at?
Right here.
This is the elevator?
Yeah, this would be the elevator, and this would probably be where I come out at.
I'm sorry, sir.
She can't hear me. She'll take you down.
This would be the elevator, and this would be or the hallway where I walk to my door.
Okay. So when you started to come down this main hallway, what do you hear?
When I get about right here.
And is that where the two hallways meet to make the turn?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
When I get about right here, it's kind of when I hear like what I would describe as two people meeting each other on a surprise. So I'm assuming, the door's open and two people meet, and then I hear the two gunshots go off.
Okay. So let's stop there for a second. You said when you get to the conjunction between the two hallways, you hear what sounds like two people meeting by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And what made you think that it was two people meeting by surprise?
Cause I couldn't make out what either one of them was saying. I couldn't tell y'all today that what either one of them was saying. It was like it wasn't English, so but I just knew it was two people meeting, two human beings meeting. So that's the only way I could describe it.
Okay. Was it two separate voices?
Yes.
Okay. Could you tell if one of the voices was giving loud commands like stop, police, or anything of that nature?
Yeah, but no, that wasn't what they were saying.
That's not what you heard?
No.
Okay. However, you say you didn't hear exactly what you heard.
No, I can't say I heard any type of words that I can make out.
Okay. Once you, in that conjunction between the two hallways, and hear the voices and the pop, how soon after the voices did you hear the sounds of gunshots?
Right after.
Right after?
Right after.
It was
right after.
quick?
Quick.
And the two gunshots you heard, were they quick?
They were quick.
Okay. What did you do when you heard the two gunshots?
I ran back out of here.
Okay. Fair enough. And so you ran back out toward the elevator area?
Right here, because I can see my door from right here. So I ran here, about right here, to look and see if I could see somebody in my apartment.
Okay, because this courtyard is open air courtyard, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you can see directly across.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're looking to see if someone is in your apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how long did you stay in this particular area of the garage?
I seen a guy come out. I seen other people come out of the patio, and I asked them, with those gunshots that I heard, they all said yes. So probably like within 2 minutes, I put it in my head, like I still got my dog in my room. So I went back, walked back over there.
Okay, so you start walking back towards your apartment down the same corridor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you make the corner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Once you made the corner, did you observe anybody in the immediate area of your apartment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did it look like there was any disruption in this immediate area of your apartment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you proceed into your apartment at 1437?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You may take your seat. So Joshua, when you get into your apartment, what was the next thing you did?
The first thing I did was just checked on my dog, make sure everything was straight, and honestly, I went over the balcony and kind of like turned my game on and went off the balcony.
Okay, and when you went over to the balcony, did you see anything when you looked outside the balcony?
I seen like It took a minute, but then I seen her come out.
And when you say her, you pointed over towards the defense table.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you see the defendant, Amber Guyger, come out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What did you observe her doing?
Just on the phone.
Okay. And were you on your balcony looking out the balcony door, or were you looking out the window?
I was looking at the balcony, and then I went to the window.
And you see her on the phone. Can you describe her demeanor?
She was crying, explaining what happened, what she thought happened, saying she came into the wrong apartment, and that was about it.
Do you recall, Joshua, how long you were inside your apartment before you heard the defendant in the hallway?
Probably like 2-3 minutes.
At some point, did you go to your front door?
Yeah, I kept looking out my front door.
Did you open the door or were you looking out the peephole?
I was looking at the peephole.
And when you're looking out the peephole, what do you see?
I just see her like going back and forth on the phone, and then I think she went back inside, then came back out.
When she comes back out, has other officers arrived?
At this time, I'm not sure, cause I think I seen some more officers, but I seen officers in the courtyard when I was on the balcony, so they didn't get there. By the time she got there, she came out her room. I mean, she came out onto the hallway and met the officers. That was what you asking? Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just trying to make sure I understand. The first time you see the defendant, she's on in the walkway, you're on the balcony, and she's on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then she goes back into the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you see her exit out of the apartment again?
Yes.
Okay. Had you ever seen the defendant before on your floor?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever seen her in the apartment complex?
No, ma'am.
Had you met the complainant before that day?
The complainant, you mean
Both?
both? Yeah, yes. Well, I met him that day.
Okay. Had you ever seen him in the building before that day?
No, I can't say I can't say I seen him. I heard him in there.
Okay. When you say you heard him, what did you mean?
Heard him singing every morning.
Okay. You heard him singing. What kind of things did you hear him sing?
Gospel music, Drake.
And your door is directly across the hall from where Mr.
Did he say gospel music Drake? Or did I hear it wrong? I don't know.
John's apartment was, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so in the mornings, were you inside of your apartment when you heard Mr. John singing, or outside of your apartment?
I'll probably hear him when I come out, lock my door. I'll hear him.
Okay. So from in the hallway, you can hear his activities inside his apartment?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? You have to say it out loud, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Now approach, Your Honor.
Yes. Here.
Thank you. Here.
So I'm kind of curious. I haven't heard this or seen this yet, but I'm curious what's the emotion behind this. So let's see what he has to say.
And we can take him on Joshua, this is fine. We're not in a rush, okay?
Yeah, we need a moment.
Deputy Johnson.
Well, it seems legit.
You were
I'm
trying
curious to
to.
see what he has to say.
All right.
So we're gonna take a little break here. Oh, and from there we saw the rest, but I guess we should just play. We took a little break.
What's the key takeaways
Talking on her phone, evidently go back inside.
that you?
And this is where they resume. Kim Invisible. Or Kim Visible. What's up? And he comes back.
Joshua, I'm gonna have you put your name on this sticker on where your apartment is located on this particular board, so we can have our future references. And that's on State's Exhibit 34B.
Oh, I was muted.
Mr. Brown, my name's Robert Rogers.
Somebody asked me if I think it was an accident. I honestly don't know. But you'd have to be in somebody's mind. And there's a lot of biases that people have, including race and everything else. I mean, in my opinion, it's manslaughter, according to the law. But according to the law, it doesn't always apply when it comes to the jury either. You know, like there's a lot of different perspectives. And it's a lot of pressure on that jury, too. You got to think about that, too. That jury, man, you put a charge that the society is not happy with, people might come after you. They might come after your family, your kids, and everything else. Let me see. We'll play it here. Let's see if I can play it.
Yes, sir.
Earlier that day, when with this so-called noise complaint, that's the first time you met Mr. John, correct?
Yes, sir.
Were either of y'all annoyed by it, or was it just whatever?
Just like a surprise. Somebody knocked at our door.
Had the leasing? Well, did you know who they were? Had you seen them before? Did you
Yeah.
know their names?
The leasing people?
Right.
Yeah, I knew who they were.
Okay. But was there any annoyance by either of y'all? Were y'all annoyed by it, or did you just blow it off, or you recall?
I just blew it off.
And that's the first time you had ever met Mr. John, correct?
Yes, sir.
You never met Miss Guyger, correct?
Yes, sir.
With regard to, you talked about, you went back to your apartment and you were talking about time, like whether it was 2 to 3 minutes or things like that. Obviously, you didn't have a timer.
Right.
This is a very startling event, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you just know some time elapsed, you went back and looked at the people, some time elapsed, you went back and looked at the people, and you described what you saw, correct?
Right.
Once a lot of police officers arrived, did they knock on your door?
Yes.
And there was a police officer, do you remember he was in like a bike officer's uniform?
Yes, sir.
That asked you some questions?
Yes, sir.
And at the time you responded to those, were you still affected by the stress of what had just happened to you?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. Ask the witness.
Just go ahead.
Joshua, how long had you lived at that apartment?
A few months, probably like 4 months.
Okay. And had you ever gone to the wrong floor before?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you went to the wrong floor, how did you know you were on the wrong floor?
I went to the wrong floor on a few occasions. One particular time I can remember when I first moved there, I went out, I went all the way to the wrong door. I even put my key in the thing, and then I seen it wasn't. And another occasion, I knew that I wasn't on the right floor because as soon as I got to the corner, it's a big vase on the third floor that let me know that I was on the wrong floor. So that's how I kind of knew that from just like the decorations and stuff.
Okay. Now let's talk about that big vase. On the third floor, you say you got to the corner. Would that be the same corner that meets the two hallways, but just on the third level versus the fourth level?
Yes, ma'am.
So at this particular day, when you say you actually put your key into the wrong door, that was trying to get into, I guess, 1337 versus 1437?
Yeah.
Melvin,
Yes, ma'am.
stop right there real
Okay.
quick.
And then you say one.
Okay, what's up? Okay, what you wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, I guess we're delayed, but yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm on a part where let me mute this because I keep hearing both. But basically, I'm stopped at a part where he was describing the times that he went into the wrong apartment, which is exactly
Right.
what I was trying to get to earlier because I'm just watching everybody's comments and all that. But basically, the fact that, for example, he mentioned that the first time he went into the wrong apartment, he actually put his key in the hole
Right.
and noticed that the key didn't work. So that's how he knew that he was in the wrong apartment.
Right.
Which is actually one of the points that I was in a brief back and forth with one of your viewers about that. If, for example, how everything was, how I imagined things went, obviously, because obviously you're not there, and that's the whole issue with everything. Um, he, she put her key in the door, okay? And normally, if you put your key in the door, it doesn't work. You go, what the heck's going on? However, it's such an unfortunate event to where when she put her key in the door, the door was open. The door was not locked.
Right. The door. Well, the thing is, they had a key fob, and the door supposedly is like slightly ajar, I believe.
Uh-huh. Yep.
But they're saying that she put her thing in and it turned red, or whatever.
But exactly, I get that. But then again, the door was open.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're home, for example, and if you open your door, regardless of box and so forth and so on, that's where the focus changes. That's where, you know, as far as like if you go home and you try to open your own door and you see that the door is open, your focus is holy crap, the door is open. And especially putting that to effect, but I'm sure that as soon as she opened the door, she would have heard a TV.
Right.
You automatically go from you automatically go from I'm home, I'm opening the door to holy shit, my door's open. Shit, I hear somebody in my house.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm sure from that moment where she saw that the door was open, where everything just kind of developed so fast. And if she thought she was in danger, especially with there's somebody in her house, that's where everybody's figuring, oh, what about this? What about that? Yes, it's unfortunate that she didn't see whatever many things she should have seen, the plant, the red. But in that point where she puts the key in there and realizes that her door, and I'm using air quotations here, but her door is open and there's somebody in her house, all that goes out the window. And as you guys, I don't know, apparently a lot of people have been here for the previous ones that we've done, like the Texas Ranger guy was explaining how you get, focus and you got blinders on and just focus about that. That's where you have to kind of like, again, take the emotion out of it and just look at what
Well,
what her
right.
experience was.
Well, here's my.
And that's where I think it's plausible that she thought she was in the wrong apartment. Everybody's talking about, oh, she meant to kill. Yes, if you have an intruder, yes, she did mean to kill him, and she never said no to that. She's been open to the
No,
fact
she
that she
has
meant to
said
kill
that.
the intruder.
Let me just say this. All right, let me say this because you really have to take this piece by piece. Because there's a lot of people that think it's impossible to get the wrong door. That's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally possible. The witness here, he's saying he's done it himself. The guy that lived right next door to Botham said it himself. He's done it. this is not excusing what she did, but if we're gonna break it down layer by layer, it's totally possible to get the wrong
Yeah,
apartment. I've done it in one
and
of those
that's all I'm saying.
complexes. I lived in one of those complexes where all the doors look exactly the same, all the floors are painted the same. It's so easy to get off on the wrong floor on the elevator. So the whole point of can you get to the wrong door? Totally possible. But one of the arguments they were making is, I think even the prosecutor said that that's totally possible. But what they were trying to argue was that the vase on one of the things, the carpet, which are all valid arguments, the door itself, the door being open, and then they brought in her training where it brings multiple levels of what you believe or not. But the whole thing of the possibility, is it possible to get the wrong apartment? That is totally possible. I don't know how
Yeah,
anybody could argue that. Totally possible.
yeah,
Now,
that's
when you take
literally
it
the only thing
further,
I'm saying.
when you take it further, that is the bigger conversation because people are saying she's supposed to be trained, which the prosecutor pointed out.
That's the thing.
She
That's
took
the thing I don't
so
agree with,
and I
though.
and
Like,
I
as
and
far
I,
as you're trying to tell me
I'm not
that
trying to
you're
tell you.
holding
I'm not trying to
that
tell you.
person,
I'm
no,
just
no, I'm just
saying this
saying,
is the argument that was
we're
being
all
made.
trying to go with the. I think that's another mistake they made, with focusing on the fact that they spent so much time trying to say she should have known better than time they should have spent on other, ways to go about this that would prove murder, and I don't think they did, and that's the whole issue.
Well,
I'm
here
not saying she's
I
guilty or innocent. I just don't see in the judge in the proceedings anything that they have done to prove murder.
I'll give you
There's a
that.
lot of
I can
mistakes
give you
made
that with
here. A
murder,
lot of mistakes
and a
here.
lot of people don't even understand the concept or the difference, which we talked about on the other video. The difference between manslaughter and murder. Like I know some people just seen it black and white, but in the court of law, it's not black and white. I'll give you that. Murder is they can walk away with this at the most, in my opinion, with manslaughter. And in my opinion, they're gonna get a manslaughter charge. But manslaughter
Hmm.
doesn't mean much for if anybody's gonna be excited. The family might not even be happy with that. Manslaughter doesn't mean too much. It can mean a couple of years, depending on because they could even what I played in the last video. They could even put that on the jury, where the jury says, "Well, time served and you get probation." Manslaughter doesn't mean much, unfortunately. I personally think that this is definitely in the least a
Okay,
manslaughter
and I
charge.
think Lacey made this. Lacey again makes the same thing. Okay,
Uh-huh.
but what about the door being open and her putting the key in? That's what I'm saying. When you put that's one of the things that really shows me how unfortunate this is.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you go to an apartment and you put your key in there, even if your key does work in the to get into the keyhole, if you're in the wrong apartment, you can't turn. However, once you put that key in the hole, the door is open.
Right.
You didn't even have to turn the key, which means that once you put the key in there and you go, holy crap, my door is open and I hear something in my house or whatever, that all the other aspects of everything else you think she should have noticed goes out the window. The apartment was dark. Once she gets in, the apartment is dark. So she's only focused on the fact that there's somebody in her house. It's again another example of how messed up the situation was. One thing, if one thing happens differently, for example, the door is locked or whatever the case may be, but one thing, just the most important thing, if the door was locked, this doesn't happen, period.
Right. Right.
Because she puts the key in there, she would have had to turn the key and realize, holy crap, this is not my door. That's it. That would have changed the whole entire situation. It's just a messed up situation. It's a literally one,
Well,
at
this is
least
the
from my
argument that
point of
Chrissy
view.
brings up, and this is what the prosecutor brought up. Well, how about accountability as far you say that training should be taken into account, or what about gun owners? Gun owners don't have any kind of responsibility to the guns and in the situations they put themselves in or what they get into.
Do you really want to have this conversation with me about guns?
I know you're anti-gun, which is the interesting thing about this whole
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Um,
I don't think a human being should have a gun. Period. So I know I'm completely
yeah, I
side on
don't
this.
think
A
we
lot of
should get into
people.
this whole gun conversation.
Yeah,
Please,
I don't
because
want
it
to go
completely
there at all
derail us.
because that's a thing that I don't think we want to go there. But as far as one other thing I took issue with is the fact that yes, a lot of people have been mentioning about her training this, that, and the other. But to me, again, like I told one of your viewers yesterday or the last time we did this, was Yes, okay, she's a cop. She has a lot of training, or whatever training you think that's going to do. She's still a human being. She's still going to when in stressful situations, a human being is more likely to make make bad calls. And no matter how long you've been as a cop, and no matter what you think a cop really represents, they're still human beings, and they're still going to make mistakes in any way, shape, and put into stress. We do not know, and I cannot speak, regardless of what I did in the military or not. I cannot speak on how you're going to react to stressful situations. Um, you don't know. You may have a fantastic infantryman that is fantastic at shooting guns. He goes to the range with us and shoots 40 out of 40, and he's a PT stud and all that. As soon as the bullets fly in Iraq, for example, you don't know how he's going to react. You don't know how if he's going to lock up. You may be the best trained possible. We don't know how that person is going to react to a stressful
Well, some people
situation.
are
I'm
saying,
not sure.
and one of the things in the
Go
military is
ahead.
you're supposed to be trained for these kind of situations. The stress. I mean,
Oh no,
I agree
100%.
with you
That's
can't.
exactly what I'm saying.
I agree with you.
You
Can't say
you
that
are
somebody's gonna have some.
military or even police. That's fine. You're trained for that, but you
Yeah.
still, regardless of your training, you still do not know how that particular person is going to react to being in a
Mhm.
life threatening situation. You're just not. I'm sorry. You can receive years and years of training, and I've seen it firsthand. You can have a person be the most gung ho person ever. And then you can have a really shitty person that, let's say, I'm just using military for example, but you can have a guy that literally is a fat chubby dude that doesn't do PT. He doesn't shoot very well, but I guarantee you, if something goes off, he's gonna be the person that jumps on top of you, or he's gonna say, "Hey, this is what you do."
I saw
And then you have the
somebody
guy that,
type
yeah,
something kind of
you don't know
ridiculous.
how the person's gonna exactly. And again, I don't know what type of cop she is. I don't know if she's a cop that sat
I
behind a
think we should
desk.
move into the CPR part of this too. But I saw
Oh,
somebody
okay.
type too that somebody said in general, property owners cannot use deadly force to protect property. I've never heard of that.
That's
I've never
untrue.
heard of
That's
that. I've
untrue.
never heard
We've
of that.
seen
Somebody
hundreds and hundreds.
trespasses, you can
That's
kill them,
untrue.
especially in Florida and a
Yes,
lot of
that's
places.
untrue.
Yeah, I never heard of
That's
that.
untrue. It's happened to cops where the cop came into the guy's house. Oh wait, no. Remember I think you covered this. The guy that
The car.
the child protective services came
Oh.
into the dude's house
Oh
and
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah,
shot him.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's
The other
untrue.
thing too, let me tell you guys something else. At least here in Florida, when I looked up the law, you can if somebody tries to take you out of your car forcefully, that's considered like a home, like your own property. You can kill somebody in self defense trying to forcibly take you out and do bodily harm to you out of your car.
Yep.
Look it up. You
Yeah,
might be surprised.
people are just trying to find like excuses for this and the other. I get it. It's a messed up situation. A
I
lot of
think
people, if you just stop, take a deep breath, and just look. If you don't believe the law works, the system is broken, I agree with you. But based on the system that we have in place currently and everything that was presented here, and agreeing with going with the fact that in our system we believe that you are innocent of proven guilty. Nothing in this case, by the prosecutor's own fault, shows murder. You may have manslaughter because how she went from 0 to 100 from lack of so that way everybody will explain or will understand. There's nothing here that proves murder, but the fact that she escalated the situation into, I believe she might not even say, "Hey, put your hands up" or whatever. She just went straight into shooting. She might get manslaughter, but that's just opinion, my opinion. And again, I think we're gonna get into this. Daniel said, "Why no CAPR?" We'll get into
yeah,
that.
let's do that right now. Let's get into let
Yeah,
me pull up her testimony. I made a note the other day
You for a
for her
fellow officer.
testimony. Oh, sorry, let me pause it. I've noted here at 2 hours and 13 minutes. She spoke about. Let's talk about the CPR thing and her obligation. Whether she, I mean, some of the things I heard I thought was personally ridiculous. Being somebody, I know Ricardo's very experienced. You were a medic in the military, right? If I'm correct or wrong, or
I was a I was a combat medic in the.
combat medic. I did. I learned CPR once. I only did it for my daughter, and I can tell you, like some of the things I heard was like, wow. But I don't know if there's any requirements for police officers. But anyway, let's get into it. I'm gonna play the clips. You guys tell me what you think. 'Cause this was a big thing of contention. So 2 hours and 13 minutes of her testimony, and then it was brought up again at 3 hours. So we'll start at 220, 210, 213, and then we'll skip to 3 hours because I want to talk about that combat gauze. There's another terminology for it, so we'll get into it. All right, here we go.
Do it all.
Not at that moment.
All right. You also indicated that you've never done CPR before.
No, I have not.
You were trained
So this was a big thing. She's saying that she's never done CPR. There's more to it, though. We'll keep going.
to do CPR in the academy, were you not?
We were trained. I've never done it on an actual person.
All right. So at least then, to the extent that you weren't suggesting that you didn't know how to properly perform CPR.
They taught us briefly in the academy.
You knew how to perform CPR properly, right?
I never done it on a person. I couldn't say I
Ms. Guyger, were you trained to do CPR properly?
Yes, we were.
Okay. Were you at those classes?
Yes, I
Were
was.
you paying attention during those classes?
Yes, I was.
Did you properly perform CPR on Mr. John?
No, I did not.
And you could have, right?
I tried to do little CPR
Why would you try and do a little CPR on a man who's dying who needs your full attention?
because I had to keep getting up to see where I was at.
That was more important than giving life-saving help to this man.
I had no idea where I was at.
You were able to tell the 911 call taker very, very soon on that you were in apartment 1478. After that moment, why couldn't you have given him full, undivided, and proper attention?
I was still on the phone with.
You can put the phone on speakerphone, ma'am.
I had so much stuff racing through my head.
Oh, obviously, you were also able, at least on 2 occasions, to, you must have stopped completely giving him CPR when you sent a message to Martin Rivera saying, I need you, hurry, right?
I did text him that.
Okay, and so you must have at that point stopped CPR entirely.
Yes, I did.
And then, not even a minute later, you must have stopped CPR entirely again to send a second message to Martin Rivera.
I was already out in the hallway.
Oh, so you had already left him.
That's whenever they told me to leave, the officers.
So that's, no, ma'am, I'm talking about at 10:03 p.m. Mr. Lee, Officer Lee, and Officer Blair didn't arrive until almost 10:05.
Yes, I do remember that. Like, whenever they showed me, I sent those text messages.
At 10:03 p.m. and at 10:02 p.m., you sent messages, text messages to Martin Rivera.
Yes, I did.
Text messages that would have required you to have put the phone in a place where you can see it, and you used your fingers to write out the words, I need you, hurry, ...
So let me just give you guys a little bit of context. I'm going to pause it for just 1 second. Rivera is the guy that they're claiming, and it's going to come up later, that she had some sort of relations with him. It was a married guy and with kids, and I guess I don't even know if they were definitely sexting and sending pictures. And at one point, even during the whole 911 call, like the last 2 minutes, she pauses at one point, sends him a message. She says it's because she was freaking out. But the thing is, they had conversation over Snapchat, which is kind of untraceable, and it was deleted. So it was some pretty interesting controversy over that. But yeah.
Right?
I don't remember how many hands I used.
But you texted Mr. Rivera using your hands.
Yes, I did.
And as you were doing that, you were unable to give Mr. Jean your full attention, the attention that he deserved.
Yes, I did.
And then you made the choice to do that a second time. Isn't that true?
Yes, sir.
All right, so at both of those times, you put your needs and your wants over his.
I still cared about him.
Did you put your needs and your wants over him when you decided to do that?
No, sir.
All right. And then you went out into the hall. You left him alone.
When I heard the officers coming, I stepped outside.
So you decided to do something other than continue to give Mr. Jean life-saving measures.
I wanted somebody there fast to get him
You're
help.
not going to answer my questions, are you?
Yes, sir, I am.
When you went out into the hall, you did that because that was what you chose to do, even though you knew you should be giving that man life-saving treatment.
Yes, sir.
You didn't know that he was going to die. I mean, you knew he was in really bad shape, right?
Yes.
You didn't know at that moment in time that you had actually shot him and severed his ventricle from his heart. You didn't know that, right?
No, I did not.
In those moments, you know as a trained officer just how critical it is to make sure that you give life-saving treatment as fast and as proper as possible so you can maximize their ability to survive. You know that.
Yes, sir.
And yet, despite knowing that repeatedly, You made choices and decisions that suited you more than him.
No, sir.
You also indicated that you had done CPR, but yet there's no blood anywhere on your uniform or on your shoes.
There is not.
Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is you and Mr. Shook kind of recreated from your recollection what you were able to see inside apartment 1478, especially with respect to the movement of Mr. Jean. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm going to see if I can recreate this. So you said this was about 30 feet away, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you said that you saw Mr. Jean doing some sort of a pacing thing, right?
Yes, he was moving back and forth.
Okay, how many seconds did this last?
Very few.
2, 3, 4, 5?
I couldn't give you an exact number.
Okay, well, I want something a little bit as best you can give me.
Maybe 2 or 3 seconds.
2 or 3 seconds. You're standing there at the door. The door is fully open, right?
Yes, sir.
The hallway that you're standing in with the door fully open. There's bright lights out in that hallway, isn't there?
It's lidded.
It's bright as heck, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And those lights were coming into Mr. Jean's apartment, which allowed you to see him doing this, right?
I could see from it was just lit, so you could still see his movements a little bit from, I guess.
I'm asking you a very simple question. From where you were standing in the doorway, you've indicated to Mr. Shook that you were able to see him standing at the back doing this, and you've indicated that was for about 2 or 3 seconds. Is that your testimony or not?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you were able to see the furthest into the furthest reaches of his apartment from the door, and you were able to actually see him doing a very distinct motion.
He was moving.
Okay. And so then you said you saw him walking.
Yes.
Or coming towards you.
Yes.
Okay. And then you said that at about here, from here to where you were at the door, that's when you decided to shoot twice.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's called a double tap, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you were intending?
Yes, sir.
That's your training, isn't it?
It's what we're trained to do.
It's training. Double tap maximizes the lethality of your shooting, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's better than one shot to the heart.
I just did what I was trained to do.
Because you resort to training, right?
Yes, I do.
You rely on your training.
Yes, sir.
It aids you.
Yes, sir.
And in crisis, you resort to your training.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And this training thing here, while he's bringing it up right now, it's a setup for later on, which in the other video I talked about it. This was one of the things that they were targeting was training. So he's building this up now and getting her to say yes to then use it against her later.
We're going to come back to that. So you indicated to Mr. Shook that Mr. Jean was standing about here, you're in the door when you shot him twice. You shot at him twice.
Yes, sir.
So is that going to be right there in the main hallway of that apartment, like when you open up the door? Let me just reorient this. So this is the door to apartment 1478, right?
Yes, sir.
You with me?
Yes.
It opens to the left, just like this, right?
Yes.
All right. So you're saying that you're standing inside.
I think for now we can. Let me see. Okay, let me. Do you want to? Okay, do you want to comment on the CPR and then we'll go to the
Please
combat
stop.
gauze? Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead and
please
comment
stop.
on what you think on that.
All right. You gotta understand. There's a delay here, so I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna wait till. Okay, I'm gonna mute this. Okay. All right. I keep hearing people. Apparently, that now body chat is a CPR expert. It's hilarious. Now hundreds of people in your chat have performed CPR, which is awesome, cool. Okay, here's my frustration with this whole focus on the CPR. The CPR focus, from what I understand, as far as the prosecution, is literally just trying to show that she didn't care for the victim, period. Because here's why. If she shot him and hit him in the heart, she apparently hit him in the ventricle, left ventricle, I think, if what he said. At this point, if you perform CPR until a guy that has no fucking ventricle because he got shot in it, there's no point in doing CPR whatsoever. None. Because you're literally going to create circulation for I'm going to say probably 30 seconds, if that. Why? Because your blood, wherever it is going to go through your ventricle, which means if there's a hole there, you're not going to pump it completely through your body. You're not going to get, if you were shot in the left ventricle, you're not going to get the blood from the heart to the aorta to go down your extremities. So all you're going to do is once the blood gets to your heart, is going to be pumped in outside through your body, outside of your heart. It's not going to go through the aorta because you go from left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle, goes through your lungs and all that. If you don't have a freaking ventricle, it doesn't complete the cycle. Therefore, you're not causing circulation, period. So CPR with a broken with a destroyed ventricle doesn't work, period. Sternum rub, another thing that apparently was brought up, and sternum rubs are for people that are unresponsive. And you're literally just trying to check responsiveness. It's a pain reflex. You literally put your knuckles into their sternum so they feel the pain, so they kind of like moan or something, so you can feel, so you can they're responsive to pain. Because you initially go with voice, then you shake them, then you sometimes what we do is pinch. But it was so far that she tried a sternum rub. When a guy that you shot in the heart and he is gone, because if she shot him in the heart, there's point, no point whatsoever of CPR. So the CPR, the
Right.
only thing that shows is that the only thing they're using CPR for is because they want to show the jury that she didn't care about them. Period.
Right. No, I totally get that. And let me offer the counterpoint. I totally get that with the whole. I know what what these people do in the court and all that stuff, and maybe it would have been pointless. I get what he's trying to prove and show. Um, I think they're showing. I mean, the negligence, which I mean, at this point, like the main argument is the whole her getting into the apartment and shooting him. This is other stuff too, the whole CPR thing. I mean, it's really just to try to show that she's not credible. It's maybe trying to discount her trying to put her as a negligent person, a reckless
Hold on,
person.
stop for a second. I'm been a very, very patient, very
Uh,
cool. But
uh,
um, Scratch Mama says this is false information. Person that apparently is now a CPR uh, expert. I just want to know what you think of anything I just said here. What was false information? I just want to know. I would just want to know where your expertise are, where you've apparently, and from what you said earlier, you've performed hundreds of CPR and you always get blood on you. Most of the people I've performed CPR on, I has been other than sweating a lot, I have had no blood on me. So I would like to know where your expertise are from and where you think the information I gave was errand.
my thing with this too is I feel like, first of all, I don't know why. I feel like a 911 caller should have instructed her in something. I don't know what, some sort of axed or whatever. If you heard the 911 call, the operator didn't ask anything about that. The other thing too is, Ricardo's saying that the CPR wouldn't have helped, and maybe it wouldn't have, especially with that kind of shot in the chest. He's probably right. I do
If you
think he's
have a shot in
knowledgeable.
the ventricle, CPR, it would be irrelevant. Just like
Yeah,
it would
I
not do anything. Not after she
some
shot him,
people, medical
nothing.
people.
Apply pressure, nothing. Nothing she would have done because she shot him to kill. She shot him in the heart. If she applied CPR, doesn't matter. He
Right.
was going to die. The only thing that saves his life is getting from an ambulance to a hospital into the OR to get
Well, here's
that
what I'll give you.
hole repaired.
Here's what I'll give
Period.
you too. Let me tell you, and the guys in the chat, because a lot of people disagreeing. Whether you think the CPR was whatever, doing it with one hand, that was retarded. That well, no, I won't say retarded. I'll say that's dumb. What I'll say is retarded is a sternum rub. So it clearly shows that she
That's
didn't know
absurd.
what the hell she was doing.
Absurd.
It's
That does
retarded.
not.
It's retarded. It's for somebody that's like overdosed and you're trying to revive, like you said, try to wake them up, kind of thing. It's not anything a life saving thing. So she had no idea what she was doing.
If I'm
With that.
sorry, but if you work in an ER and you provide CPR with a person with a hole in the ventricle without them going straight from the ambulance to the OR, please tell me what hospital you work for. I will tell everyone to stay away from you. If you provide CPR for a person with a hole in their heart, you are absolutely a detriment to any patient you see. Period. Period. I respect the fact that you may or may not be a nurse, and that's great. But if you perform CPR on a person that has a hole in their heart, you are literally causing more harm than good. Actually, you're causing no good whatsoever. A person with a shot in their ventricle should go from the ambulance to an OR, period. You shouldn't even touch this person. There should be no IV. There should be no CPR performed. The only thing you do is start a port
Okay.
and direct them straight into the OR.
So let me bring up. I wanted to bring up two, if I can do this. These two websites. One here is from Crowar, which this person they're saying they're EMT, but I also have another set that I want to bring up. But this said, I'm assuming this in the case where someone's heart stopped, and they've also been shot, and because they've been shot, their heart or somewhere that instantly killed them, CPR won't help the person. I'm also assuming that you're not asking if CPR will help someone that has been shot and still breathing. CPR will only
Shot,
help
yes. In the
someone in
heart,
a
no.
cardiac arrest. It'll only help them in a cardiac arrest. If you perform
It
CPR on
it
someone
only
who has
helps
been
a person.
shot, it will probably help pumping their
CPR
blood out of their body.
only CPR
When
only
you're
helps
performing
people,
CPR, you're
people
effectively
with no
taking
circulation.
over the person's lungs and
Only helps with
heart.
people with no circulation, not breathing. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
So, I mean, according to these other people too, if somebody's been shot, especially in the chest, and you're doing CPR, it's only helping to get the blood out of their body, which is not a good thing. In case you didn't know.
Yeah, you're not doing anything to help with CPR. The reason they're bringing up CPR, I would assume because I'm assuming the prosecutor is educated and informed on this. The only reason he bring up CPR is to show to the jury that she did not care about the victim herself. She was more worried about herself, which I cannot blame her. She made a huge mistake, and she's about to get in huge amounts of trouble. She's trying, and a lot of people discredit the fact that the cops were there instantly, which means she called like automatically. She got somebody there. Period. But everybody's looking at let's hang her and are overlooking that. The CPR thing was only brought
Yeah,
up because
I
I'm
didn't know
assuming
that.
the prosecutor knows.
I honestly didn't
You
know that
know
either.
that.
I was like most people, as far as CPR thing, yeah, I would probably think do CPR, but no, it's true. It makes sense. Somebody's bleeding out, especially
Yeah.
out of their chest. CPR is not going to do anything.
CPR is not the call there.
But it's clear that this woman, she didn't know what she was doing either. You know, she had
She
no
didn't
idea
know.
what
She
she was.
didn't know how to provide CPR. That's 100%
And let me tell you this
positive.
too, just for the people in there, just because you go and take a CPR class once, like I did, bro, after 5 days, there's one thing of doing it on a plastic thing, on a robot simulation thing, and doing it on a live person. And I'm not excusing, because I know people are going to take like, oh, you're caping for the white devil. No, I'm just saying that it's a whole different experience live in person where somebody's shot, bleeding out, or needing your help, or having a breathing problem. When I went and learned CPR, it wasn't for somebody that was a gunshot victim. You know, it's for somebody that, you know, had stopped breathing, or somebody that like choking on something. There was a couple of like choking methods and to kind of make them start breathing. I could be wrong, but I mean, according to the websites and other medical people too, CPR is not for like a gunshot victim that's
But
bleeding out.
another thing too, like as far as providing CPR, once you get your CPR certification initially, things have changed. For example, the first time I had to get my CPR, it was through the Army. Initially, when it first started, was you did rounds of 15, then you did two breaths, and then do rounds of 15, and then there's different things that change. Now it's 30 and 2 breaths and so forth. Everything changes. And whenever you were initially, especially, I don't know how long she was a cop, but I'm assuming that because of other experienced cops that I've seen before and they know how to provide CPR, I'm assuming that she got her CPR certification right in the first year. Then after that, you really don't have, especially if you're a cop on duty, you don't have to do the whole class over again. It's literally just a small recertification that you answer a group of like 20 questions. Oh, here you go. Here's a new card for you for the next 2 years or however long they dispatch it in Texas, in Florida, and all those always change. In the Army, you could have a CPR card for 5 years as long as you're in a line and so forth. It just depends. But again, once you recertify, you don't take the whole class over again. It's just literally answer these questions, get them right, pass it with a 70%, and you're good to go.
Yeah. You know, the thing is too, the conversation we're talking about. I know some people might get it. It's not to like to say she didn't do anything wrong or she wasn't reckless, But it's to really like people don't understand a lot of these things. I mean, I didn't even understand a lot of the CPR stuff.
Again,
You know, it's to bring understanding. It's
the
not. It's not
fact
just
the
black and
fact
white.
that the fact that I'm trying to point out all these things to justify her act. Well, I don't want to say justify her actions,
Yeah, you
but it's
said it.
just to try
You're
to get
screwed.
people to understand that this could happen. I'm not saying that
You're a
she didn't
white
do
devil.
anything wrong. Yeah, like I'm not saying that she did anything wrong. She did something wrong, 100%. But again, what I'm looking at the fact is that from watching what I've watched, they have not proven that she committed murder in court. Simple. I'm not saying that she should or should not be charged with that. Frankly, does it really matter what I think? No. I'm just saying that looking at the way our law system works, the job of the prosecutor was to prove murder beyond a reasonable doubt, which he did not. Therefore, because he failed at doing that, which very I can't believe that he didn't because it was somewhat of an easy case. Um, I'm stuck with thinking that she's gonna get manslaughter, not because she doesn't deserve one or another. It's because the prosecutor himself did not do enough job to get her convicted for murder.
Well, the
Simple.
whole thing with bringing up CPR, I mean, it's a whole. She's not on trial for whether she rendered aid to him or not. It's an
Yeah.
important thing. It's an emotional thing, and that's where you're trying to get the jury and the masses and everything else. But she's not on jury or on trial and in court for if she provided enough, life saving tactics. She's there for the charges of manslaughter or murder and whatever else.
Oh my god.
So this is all
All right.
stuff
So
to. You want to skip to? I think we should probably
let
end it
me
soon.
let me address another one. So again, apparently there's another expert on CPR and recertification here. So I just heard BS. In Dallas, you have to get recertified every 2 years. So apparently this person knows. So you're going to tell me that a cop, that a cop, apparently he knows that a cop has to get recertified every 2 years.
I'll tell you
That's the
where
thing?
Darkstar. I like Darkstar. Salute to that. She's been supporting for a long time, but
No, that's fine.
I know
I
where
just
she's
wanna-
getting that from because I thought that too, and I still think that.
Mhm.
But you might know differently because
No.
when
It's
I went
not.
to
I
go get
don't know
CPR,
anything.
no, you might know
I
something
don't
I don't
know
know.
anything
I'm saying
at
that
all. I
when
don't know.
went and
I
got
just want.
when I went and got my CPR, right?
I don't know.
When my daughter was born, I went and got my
Mhm.
CPR. It expires in 2 years. So literally, if I want
Okay.
to keep up my certification, I have to go every 2 years to get that American Hearts Association card. That's maybe
Okay.
where she's getting that from. But I
Okay.
don't know if it's
So
different
you
in
have.
other states.
Yeah,
It
that's
could
what
be
I'm saying.
different.
It's different. It's
Yeah,
100% different. But my thing is, don't like BS. Like I'm not making this shit up. Like
Uh-huh.
as far as when you're, for example, in Florida, you work in a hospital, you work in a
I
medical
used to,
field.
yeah, long
You're
time.
telling me that you have to you said 2 years,
I
you
mean,
have to take the whole class over
I
again.
did it optionally. So you don't have to work in a hospital and know CPR. As a nurse, you might, but as a regular employee, I was there as a pharmacy tech. I didn't have to know it. It
Uh-huh.
was just the optional thing I did for my
No,
daughter.
I'm just saying. My question is, when you had to recertify,
Every 2
you
years.
had to take the whole class again.
Yeah. Well, I've never recertified, so I don't know if you have to do the whole class or if it's just a like a little thing of just a touch up or whatever. I don't know if it's the entire class. I never did it. I did my
Oh, you
thing
never
one
re-
time.
you
I
have
never reinstated. Yeah, I just did it for
Okay.
the infancy of my daughter.
Okay. Again, and like I said, I even made the point that in every state may be different. I just know that in most places, as
Coffee
far
Girl
as
said
getting
BLS
your
training too.
CPR,
I know that's another type of. I don't know what BLS training
along
is,
with
but I've heard of that.
basic life support.
Yeah, yeah.
The only class that I've had to take like hands on, like, and had to do it completely was ACLS, which is Advanced Cardiac Life Support. But as far as CPR,
I think my aunt did that.
literally you just after you get your class done, the only times you will take the class completely is when they change their regulations, as far as, like I said earlier, when you go from 15 compressions to 30 and their rate changes, because
The
before
15
it
to
was
30
like
is what between why they do that? What was that about?
for example, before you used to do cycles of 15. You do 15, or
Oh,
it was 20, actually 20. You used to do 20 cycles. You used to do 20 compressions, give 2 breaths, and go back to 20 compressions. You do 5 cycles of that. Then if you have an AED, then you analyze and take and shock. You know what I mean? As far as that's how they do their cycles. They went from 15. They went from 20 or 15 to 20. I don't quite remember because it's been so long ago, but 20, and then they went from 20 to 30. But also, once they changed to 30, they also changed the frequency, because before you used to do like 1 every 2 seconds, but now they increase the rate. You have to do a little bit faster. You do 30, and then the 2 breaths. You do 3 cycles of that, analyze, and then shock if you have an AED, and then recycle, keep going. You do 32 and just repeat, and repeat, rinse and repeat over and over again. But the only times that I've experienced that you have to go through the entire class is when you actually change, when they change those perimeters, and they haven't changed that. And I want to say it's been like this for 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
Brandy said it's a refresher every 2 years. It could be different in every state, but yeah,
Yeah, that's
I would
true, too. It could
assume
be.
that they're not going to take you through the entire thing. It's probably going to be some sort of refresher course. I mean,
Yeah, in some places they just do the class to recertify, especially if you're like if you're a
they want to
person
get
that
back to
like
the
an
case.
EMT or a nurse.
So, Ricardo, I want to get to this. I'm going to skip to 3 hours because there was one other thing too, and I think you heard this on the other stream: the hemostatic gauze.
Hemostatic dressing, yeah.
So I want to play the
Hemostatic
clip,
dressing.
and then I want to hear your feedback on that. You could tell us what that's about. So
Mm-hmm.
let me go here.
This courtroom right now going to be the contents that existed on September the 6th, 2018.
Yes, sir.
So inside your backpack, which you took all the way into apartment 1478, right?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall that this backpack and your heavy vest and your lunch pail was put down next to Mr. Jean?
Yes, sir.
So you had this right within arm's reach in that 5 minutes of time when you could have been giving him your full attention.
Yes, sir.
Inside this backpack, you've got something called combat gauze, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
This is for treating a person who has been injured, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And it says on there, for temporary external use to control traumatic bleeding.
Yes, sir.
Would you agree that Mr. Jean was bleeding horribly from the gunshot wound that you put into his chest?
I don't recall much blood, sir.
You were able to tell the responding officers exactly where the bullet wound is. How would you have known that had you not looked?
What do you mean? Like, I knew he was shot somewhere.
You told them exactly where he was shot.
Top left.
Right. How would you have known that if you hadn't have looked to where he had been shot?
I knew where he was shot.
How? From the time that you shot him?
No, when I turned on the lights.
Okay, so did you look at the bullet wound?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you knew he was injured with a bullet, right?
Yes, I did.
And a person bleeds when they're injured with a bullet, correct?
Yes, they do.
Is there a reason why you didn't use this stuff right here, which is designed to control traumatic bleeding?
It never crossed my mind.
It didn't even cross your mind?
No, sir.
Even though he's bleeding in front of you?
No.
And this is inches from you?
It did not cross my
It
mind.
never crossed your mind to use this?
No, sir.
This is the first aid kit that's also included in there, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've got more of that exact same stuff in here. Hemostat gauze dressing for bleeding control.
Yes, sir.
That's also unopened, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So, other than, I'm trying to understand this, other than with just one hand periodically with interruptions doing some compressions, did you really do anything else to try and help Mr. Jean?
The sternum rub.
Bruh, he did a good performance here too. The sternum rub, that's when you walk away because holy crap. Yeah. And I think, let me just take a quick, I think that was it of this part. And this is where I wanted to talk about yeah, I think that's it for this. So Ricardo, and I'll let you catch up because I know we have a delay. The hemostatic gauze dressing, I've never even heard of that before until this case. What can you tell us about this? And is this something that would have been more viable than trying to do CPR, which she didn't really
No,
do properly anyway? But
not in the type of injury she has. The hemostat gauze and all the other stuff would have been for like significant gashes on the extremities and huge cuts on your stomach area and things like that. Again, I think he's just trying to prove that she
so when you say
didn't
extremities,
do.
for people that might not know, that means like your fingers, your hands, your legs, like the
Your
parts that are
legs,
outside.
yeah, like for example, even like well, we used to use hemostat gauze and all that when somebody's leg used to get gashed by little iron pieces that got blown off from IED, things like that, along with the tourniquet. Um, but as far as like I said, those particular dressings and stuff like that would have been used for big gashes on the arm. Like for example, you see the picture there, that he's using that on the gentleman's arm on the picture.
Yeah.
But again, for his injury, for getting shot in the getting shot in the heart. Yes, okay. Like I said, they're just trying to show that she didn't care,
See, this might be a good
for him
description.
as a victim. As far as they could have put all the gauze you want, all that, but you wouldn't have solved the fact that his blood is going straight into his body
Is there
and not going
anything
through
from your
all of it.
opinion? Let's play this scenario out. Okay, you're a combat medic. You have military experience. What would you have done in this situation? Is there anything you could have done? Anything that she could have done? I mean, is she just? Do they just not have the equipment?
Well, taking away the fact that she was probably freaking out, uh, if I was a bystander, because obviously I wouldn't have to worry about the fact that I just killed somebody and I'm in the wrong because I just realized that I'm in the apartment. Um, I would call 911, which I think she did. Um, Other than that, the only thing after you shot the gentleman in the heart, the only thing you're doing is running against the clock to get him to the operating room to close that hole. There was absolutely nothing in her kit there that would have stopped the fact that he has a hole in his heart
Would you
at
have
all. So
texted your married lover that you were fucking on the side?
do what?
Would you have texted your lover that's married with somebody else and fucking on the side while the person's dying in front of you?
Well, I mean that's yeah. I'm assuming that's one of the comments. Um, Again, even that was brought up to this credit. I mean, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure.
you can bring up all kinds of.
Yeah, but that's the thing, again. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but again, none of that does the job of proving murder. That's my whole issue with this whole thing. All this attack to her personal, like all her sexcapades and this idea doesn't do with the job of what he was supposed to do.
And
Prove murder.
this has been historically done. Yeah, it doesn't have to do with the case,
Yeah,
but it has been historically done, and
it
it
was
does work.
so
It does work sometimes
bad.
too. Depending on the jury, it does work.
Oh, and the whole thing you guys were talking about, like the what is Snapchat that was used?
Yeah.
That wasn't her doing. The guy's married. He probably just like, let's talk through Snapchat so my wife doesn't discover these messages on my phone. Probably has nothing to do with her. She's not the married one. The guy was. I mean, at least that's the way I looked at it. It was not like her intent to hide it. It was just the fact the guy was married, didn't want his wife to see his messages to another woman and do it through Snapchat. But I don't know. But as far as the dressing and all that stuff, yeah, I get what they're trying to attempt there, like try to get to the fact that she didn't care for his well-being or whatever. But none of those items, no CPR, no sternum rub, and none of those items would have saved the guy's life after he got shot in the heart. So basically, like none of the things she could have done in that
For that kind
particular
of
moment,
shot, I guess there's not much.
unless she opened his heart, did some MacGyver shit, and closed that hole in the heart. There's nothing she could have done. Absolutely nothing. Period. I mean, you can say whatever you want about putting gauze here and there, but you show me any of the things that he showed her that would have saved his life, then we'll have a conversation. But no, none of that would have saved him at all. And again, I think they know that too. They're just trying to show that she was that guy's. Which again, she was killing a person that she thought was there to rob her or in her house. Not excused, but that's actually why I think one of the reasons why I believe she even said that she intended to kill, which she said she did. Yes, because she intended to kill what she thought was an intruder. But again, a lot of people don't see it that way because they're out for blood and they want to see a white person go to jail, a cop go to jail because they killed a black guy or whatever the fuck you're looking at it. It's just, again, if you stop and breathe and stop looking at it as a racial aspect and just look at the fact that it is plausible that she thought she was in the wrong room, it is plausible, then that you will see that the issue here is not whether she did something wrong or right or wrong, because we all know that she was wrong in doing so. But the biggest problem here, the biggest thing that I have a problem with, is the fact that the prosecution did a horrible job in proving murder. Simple.
Well, I don't know if I think they were just trying to go. I think even the prosecution probably knew that the best maybe they have is manslaughter. I really don't see a verdict
I don't think
more than that.
Yeah, I don't. They were grasping. It's such a hard job. It's such a hard case to prove murder on that they were literally grasping at straws. Like, other than,
I'm honestly, frankly, surprised how fast the trial has been. It's only been like 7-8 days. I think today might have been the 8th day. I think.
I mean, there was not much to. I mean, you had the scene. What I'm so. You had the scene. You had a couple of phone records in there, and because there wasn't history between them.
Right.
Or at least
Well,
that
that's
they
the
couldn't
thing too. There was
discover.
a lot of speculation. They thought there was history and stuff, but apparently
That's the thing. Actually, I believe when this case first came up,
right.
I think one of my first ideas, or the first things that came to mind, was the fact that she was a girlfriend of his, and stuff went south, and that's what I initially thought, and then everything developed from there. But
that's interesting. Well, today's trial. Yesterday was, because it's already 1 a.m. over here. Yesterday was day 7. I think we're gonna end it off here, man. And I'm gonna follow this tomorrow to see if they come up with a verdict. And I'm gonna put down on it that I think it's gonna be manslaughter. That's what I
think so too.
No more than that, though. There's no way. I mean, I know a lot of people are gonna be upset, and I know it sucks. I really understand. It sucks for the family. But anybody else, I mean, this is how the system works. And it's best that you understand how it works too. But yeah, man, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for joining, and thanks for pissing people off.
Oh yeah, man, no problem.
Thank you guys for joining in the live stream. I don't see the chats updating. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. I don't know. Let me see. I think I'm looking at the wrong.
No, I see it. Yeah.
Are they cursing you out? Let me take a look over here real quick. So I could just say peace out to some people. I got this weird like allergy thing tonight. All my stuff. Thanks for joining. Kind of run. Thanks for pissing.
See, like, did you shut it off already?
No, not yet. Don't go.
Just,
slow down.
No. I'm just looking at. No. I'm just looking at. There's nothing bad. I mean, I'm very okay with everybody's opinion, because again, I'm just looking at I'm just looking at some people, like the female cop did this to a white man, should be under the jail the same day. Like, that's the type of thinking most people are having. Like, that's horrible. Like,
no,
that's not what this is about, yo. Like, you're not even. Everybody's like trying to be self-righteous about, it's about being justice, but you're just looking at it in a racial aspect. Just stop for like 1 second, like stop.
Most people aren't capable
take the
of doing
race
that,
out of it.
Most people
just take the race out of your everything you do.
They can't. Most people, they're not able to look outside of race. So everything that happened, I've seen so many cases where, like, had it been different skin tones, it would have been completely racist. It would have been deemed as racist.
And here's another thing: everybody's like talking about that too. If it was a white on white or black on black, would there be that much attention to it?
Nobody would bat an eye. It would be another shooting in Chicago. That's the reality,
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I'm not
and
saying
now they
it's
want
insignificant.
they want her head on a platter because she killed. Come on, yo! Like, nobody is taking. Nobody's taking a single second to realize it was a human being that killed another human being, regardless of race. Like, get the hell out of here with that. Come on now. Just stop and think for a second and put yourself in their position. And you want to fucking crucify a person. Get out of here with that. That's simple-minded thinking. Sorry. Yes, and Coffee Girl, you're right. You do not have to agree. I do not need you to agree
Somebody
whatsoever.
wants to ask you a
Again,
question. The system was founded upon racism, fools. I'm not saying what it was founded upon or anything like that. I'm just
like,
saying
are we
based off of the
really
system.
like,
I'm saying based off of the system, most
like
likely
really
it
like
probably manslaughter.
the system? That's like a simple-minded way of thinking. If you know what, if you're so bothered by the system, bro, go to college, get a degree, and change the system. You are allowed to do that in this country. So there you go.
Are you dark skinned in America? I'm colored, but I don't feel like I'm oppressed or I'm weak, and I don't know.
You are not. I mean, I don't want to put. If I say this, everybody's.
Yeah, no, don't.
But yeah,
but is
you're not
Ricardo white?
oppressed. You
It's
only
funny
make
that people are
yourself
saying.
oppressed.
It's funny that people are like, "Is Ricardo white?" but that shows you the
Ricardo
mentality of
needs to
people, though.
have
It's funny, but that
Ricardo.
does show you the mentality
Yeah,
of people.
it's
You
not
have to be
oppressed.
white.
If you decide, if you get out of your situation that puts you down, if you decide one day that you're gonna go to college and you're gonna make something of yourself, there's nothing to stop you. So you can
No, I
call
just want
yourself oppressed if you want to, but the fact that you're not making what you want to make or you're not treated the way you want to be treated has nobody's fault but your own. If you're not being treated you right, you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. If you're not in the right place or the right job, that's because you didn't do enough to deserve it to get it. So don't come at me with that oppressed bullshit. It's straight up bullshit. If we want to go, if you want to go, if you want to take this conversation to that route, we can have the conversation that route. I simply put my opinion on what I thought they did wrong in the case. But if you want to
okay.
attack me, that I'm
Lacey asked a good
completely cool with
question.
that.
She said, "Ricardo, I just have a question. Do you think that she deserves time in jail, and how
Oh yeah.
much do
Oh
you think
no.
she
I mean,
deserves?"
time wise, I mean, I actually 100% believe that she's going to go to jail because of the charge she's going to get. I think the max that they're going to be allowed to give her will be 10 years. I think she's going to get 10 years. Um,
Mm.
but that's about it. And again, that's if they fail at at proving her guilty of murder. Obviously, if she gets murder, she's going to get way more than 10 years. But
This is
I
not
think she's
actually
gonna get
him being angry. This is regular conversation.
yeah, really. No,
If you
but
only you could see our
it's great.
conversations.
Yeah, it's fine. But anyway,
Uh,
but no, I think she's guilty of manslaughter. Um,
Lazy.
but I'm not afraid of you, Greta.
This is honestly why I brought on Ricardo, though. I honestly,
No, like simply,
it would be no
I
interesting
simply have
conversation if it was just
I simply
us
have a different way of
agreeing
looking
and
at it.
you
And
know.
again, it's not the fact that I think she's guilty or innocent, because I think she's guilty. Um, but again, my whole focus, and I think a lot of people missed it. My whole focus is the fact that the prosecution missed the opportunity to get her convicted of murder. I think she's guilty, but again, they missed the opportunity to get her charged with murder. That's it.
Oh man.
Uh,
You know what I'll say about the
Tina, hold
race
on.
thing. All right, go ahead. You want to go
Tina,
first?
if you just read the comments about, oh, if a white woman had done this, that, the other, you will notice where I'm talking about when it comes to race and the people are focused on race is the fact that they mention some people. I'm just looking at chat, and again, I'm not generalizing because I understand that I've had some back and forth with some people in here that did not focus on that. However, if you look at some of the comments where it's, oh, if he was white or black or yada yada, that would have been different. That's what I was referring to.
What I'll say about race when this whole the Botham Jean thing started, I avoided race. If anybody's ever watched the videos when I first covered it, I just left it out. A lot of people were commenting and saying it or whatever. Some of the people, but I left it out because I
Oh my
personally,
god.
I didn't even need to mention it because most people didn't really. I don't know if I'd say most. I'd say most people didn't, but there still was like a good portion of people, which you could say most. I don't know, mentioning it, but to me, it kind of was irrelevant. To me, not kind of, it was. I didn't even need to mention it to get the point across.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, no, I don't think the race thing here is a fact. I think also is also bad timing too because of all the cop issues that we've been having in this country for the past. Well, we've always had them, but they've been more here in the forefront in the
If
past
they
couple of
only knew my
years.
issues on the race stuff, they wouldn't like me. They'd unsubscribe. One of my most viewed videos. is on the race stuff.
I don't know.
I don't even think we should get into that. But.
I've had, because everybody was talking about the cops are trained to kill. I've had one significant encounter with cops, on an accidental issue that if they were trained to kill or shoot first, I would be dead. But they're not. I had a conversation with a cop that had a gun pointed to me, and I got back in my car and went home. If that was the case, I would be dead.
I had a
So I'm not.
situation. I had a
Again.
couple. Once where a cop, he was like really turned up after I. There was like there was an accident outside of my apartment complex, and it was like somebody got into an accident. One was on a motorcycle. His body got dragged across the road. I had to get to work, and there was only one exit. So when I start pulling out of the exit, a cop comes up like, "Hey, what are you doing, man? What the f are you doing?" Like he's like he has his hand by his gun on his waist. That was the most scared I've ever been with a cop. Hey, what are you doing? Like he was like on some like steroids, Adderall, or like coke. What are you doing, man? What the fuck? I was like, yo, I'm sorry, man. Go back in there. I don't give a fuck. Where you gotta go? Turned up. I was like, oh shit. So I went back, and that was the most scared I've been. But I've also had other encounters where it's like I was pulled over for speeding, and I used to have 12-inch speakers, 10-inch speakers, whatever, in the system at the time, and I turned on my music, and the guy was like, when he pulled me over, he was like, oh, thank you for turning on the music. And to me, it was like, well, I thought that's normal human consideration. But there's people out there that get pulled over. Yeah, motherfucker, yeah. Listening to that, and they think that's normal. And then when you get arrested, shot, whatever, then it's like, why that happen? It's such a tragedy. And there's some people, too. There was this other case, too, where, I don't remember the details. So maybe I shouldn't speak on it. But there was this guy, like, I think he overdosed. And these firefighters, paramedic guys, they came and they put Narcan in him and they revived him. The guy comes to, pulls out a gun, and shoots the guy that revived him.
Shoots what?
Shoots the guy that revived him.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
You white devils, you all racist white devil motherfuckers. We oppressed, man. You devil motherfuckers. All you white motherfuckers, racist bitches. You all.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah. No, just people are just. I can. People are looking at the previous issues that we have with cops, and they're just mirroring that to this, and it's a completely different situation. But again, they're just speaking out of feelings and all that. They have their feelings about it.
You know what? I'll give you
fine.
There was this interesting case that I covered. I wonder if I
see.
can
It's not my. That's the thing. It's not my
What did they
family.
say?
Therefore, I can get all the emotion out of it because I'm not talking about my family. I am talking about a human being that made a mistake, went into an apartment, and killed somebody, and she knew she was wrong. This and the other. Again, the problem here is not whether she did something wrong or did something right. My issue with the fact, again, and I'll repeat it, the fact to me, and again, I see some people that disagree, is the fact that the prosecution did not do the good enough job to prove that she committed murder. Hence the fact that I think she's gonna get manslaughter. Or
it's going left field.
That's it. Do what?
No, somebody said, "Oh, this is going left field."
No. Like again, I'm just looking. Everybody that thinks that murder, they want that so bad. Like I can feel it. Like they want her to like be strung out and hung and all that shit and lethal injection and all. I feel it. Like I'll just some comments. I feel it. But again, just taking all the emotion out of this.
Here's the thing, man.
There's nothing that they did to prove murder. Simple.
Here's
it.
the thing. Here's the thing. There's a thing of thought, and I think ideology and people's mental, just thoughts, and you can almost call it potatoes, tomatoes. What's that saying? They're just looking at it as she killed the guy and it's murder, plain and simple. And for some people, that's as simple as their minds are. I mean, you can't blame them. They can't think of anything
That's
else.
fine. You can
So
again.
we're looking
That's
at it
okay.
from the
I'm completely fine with
legal.
that. But the thing is,
We're looking at
looking
it from
at
the
the law,
legal, the
she
law.
cannot prove
Yeah,
that.
a lot
That's
of
it.
people aren't
I'm
capable
no.
of looking at it that deep. A lot of people just, life and death, and I understand that. Some people just that's all they see. We're taking it in a more analytical. Not even that, just the law and stuff, how it works. That's all we're saying.
She did not admit to committing murder. She admitted to shooting to kill a person she thought was an intruder. How is that not etched in stone?
Ken said, "Do you want to hook up with Amber?"
Uh,
I don't know.
with
I
Amber?
don't know that we should get to this
I don't
trolling
know.
part. I don't think we
I,
should take it this far. I don't think because I know
I'm
we
completely
could
fine with
totally.
either. You know me. I'm fine.
Because I have I don't let me not say what I can say. I can say things too.
Want her to pay
Please
for what
end the
she
call
did.
with a
Kill
caller.
this man with her
Waste of your
selfish
time.
and stupidity.
Hey, Jerry.
Okay, see, there you go. That's a little bit better. See, yeah, I do. I want her to pay for what she did, killing. Again, that's fine. I can feel it. I know this, but again, I'm not. Again, and I think everybody's attacking or getting irritated with what I'm saying because they think that I want her to walk. That's not the case. I'm literally simply telling you that from what I saw from the case, the prosecution failed to get her convicted to murder.
Let
Am
me
I
ask the
saying that
chat.
that's not?
I want to ask the chat.
Huh?
What do you guys think the verdict is going to be?
There you go. Look at
Not
that. I want to
not
see.
not what the verdict should be, because there's a difference. I want to know what you guys in the chat think the verdict is going to be. Comment in the because you know what, I have a lot of people telling me in email that they think she's gonna not get charged, that she's gonna walk free. So I want to know, what do you think the verdict is gonna be? Not what you think it should be. What do you think it's going to be? Comment right now. I want to hear you guys, or see you guys. Let's say hear you guys. She was wrong killing another person. What a shame how people switch words up just to get out of their crime. What do you guys think? Comment now. I should do a vote in the community tab. So Scratch believes that she's going to get life without parole. All right, Scratch. Tomorrow, if the verdict's out, I want you to join the chat back, and we'll see if she gets life without parole. In your mind, that's the reality of what's going to happen. Pamela believes murder. Okay. Gigi says not guilty. Marlon says manslaughter, voluntary manslaughter. Tina, that's a perfectly, that's very logical. Voluntary. There's a difference to voluntary and involuntary manslaughter. Can I do a poll in the chat? Can I do a poll? I don't think I could do a poll. YouTube needs to add a poll thing.
You actually have a website you can use.
Really I'm gonna do it in the community tab in the morning when I wake up.
Oh wow, Louis Jones thinks she's not gonna get charged. Period.
So here's what I think it is. I know a lot of people disagree with whatever feelings, but I think people in the chat, they feel that she's gonna get some sort of manslaughter or not guilty, but they feel that she should get more. Like the outcome they feel is gonna be a lesser charge, but she should get charged with more. So they feel that the system's not right, injustice. So yeah, I think we can come to terms with that. We can come to terms with that. She's gonna get something that people. Well, we could be honest too. People in the chat will prefer to have her die on live stream the electrocution chair or something. People in the live chat prefer to have her die on live stream, like her death sentence on death.
Yeah.
People would be, and they still wouldn't be satisfied with that. They would see her blood and the jolt. What happens when you get electrocuted and you die? What happens? What happens when you die from the electric?
Melvin.
Yeah.
I think you should take a different approach on how this is going.
Right now, yeah, I think we're getting a little too far. Huh?
Because I think you need to disagree with everything I say, and dog me out, or else you're gonna lose subscribers. Scratch Mama here might not be sub to you tomorrow because
I've actually countered your points. Some of your points, I didn't agree with everything, but
I don't know. Like again, just I don't know. I guess disagree with anything I say because
You're the bad guy, and I'm
yeah,
the Black Lives Matter
yeah,
guy.
yep,
Did I just say that?
or else, because apparently either she finds a channel that agrees with everything she says, or so yeah. Sorry, no, that's definitely not gonna be me.
No, I think what it is, from what I've seen here, is that most people want her to be charged with murder. You know, and the thing is too, and we could even take this to the whole Malia Davis, which I'm not gonna get deep into it because I'm really tired. I want to go to sleep soon. But
Yeah.
most people want it to be a murder charge.
Uh-huh.
But that's just so far the state can't even come up with a murder charge. Like the state can't even. They don't have enough evidence. You know, they have circumstantial stuff. They have. I mean, it's just. I mean, you could even look at the Malia Davis and where that's gone. Unfortunately, sadly. You know, it's and the thing is too is like what, and for the people that talk about the system, what exactly could be done to improve the system, right? I don't know, because there's a bunch of people that are innocent too that get charged with this kind of system that we have now.
I was surprised that you found that thing about the jury making the decision on the sentence.
Bro, I was listening to it today. I've never heard of that before. I think most
Yeah,
people don't even know about that.
I thought that they picked what
When I was on the
guilty or
case,
not.
we just picked the charge, and then the judge
Yeah.
decide the sentence. This is the first time I ever heard that the jury, the person that's charged
I
can
thought
decide on the jury.
I thought the whole sentencing part was all left up to the judge, at least from what I knew.
Well, I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys being here, even though we disagreed. I learned some things tonight. That you guys are hateful. No, I'm just kidding. I learned about the CPR stuff a little bit and the hemostat thing because I didn't know about the hemostat. And the honestly, the biggest thing to me too is that judge, the whole charge thing we were just talking about now, that they can leave the charge.
Yeah, the whole charge thing we just talked about.
Yeah. He don't agree with himself first. He's taken up for her and wants her to be charged for murder and not manslaughter. Just be honest with everybody. You don't want to be charged at all. The first, well, I'm tired, man.
Yeah.
The 13th Amendment.
How long have we
justifies
been on
slavery.
here?
This stream has been up for over an hour, and I gotta be up early.
Not compared to the other one?
Bro, the other one was longer too.
Yeah.
I'm tired, man. And I feel like the more tired we get, the more offline and off base.
The more likely I am to engage some of this ridiculousness that I read in here. Yes, 100%.
Might be.
It's funny. No, it's. I thought it was the highlight of the stream for me was the fact that according to whatever topic we were talking about, is like it would determine how many experts you had in your chat. Like when we talked about CPR, everybody was a nurse. We talked about like the charges, everybody was like a lawyer, somebody that lawyer. It was fantastic. It was great. It was fantastic. I just love that.
You know what though?
It takes a special person to do YouTube and.
Nah, honestly, I really do
like
appreciate the people coming in here. Yo, curse us out. I think most people just hate you. That's fine with me.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's good. I like that. But that's the thing. Like, see, you have a cape. You have a cape. That's why we're friends. I think you have a capability.
I've made videos though that really piss people off. Just a lot of the new subscribers haven't gone and looked at those videos. If you go and look at my number one video, it'll probably piss you off.
I would love to. I would one day, just the day that you decide that you fed up with YouTube, just one day, just let's talk about the wall for all your viewers.
Yeah, we had a 2-hour conversation.
These people are going to love me, and they're going to hate.
Yeah, that's true. We had a 2-hour conversation on.
But see, that's the thing. Like hello everyone. Ricky is the expert.
Security officer.
Like, how the hell does he know my name?
Oh, okay. Lewis Jones says it's required that we have a CPR. Lewis Jones, I think, is a troll too. I don't want to put him out there, but
I'm security officer.
One of those YouTube channels that has some weird stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people require CPR. Yeah. I think that wasn't the issue. I think the issue was how to recertify.
OSHA. Again, oh snap! Darkstar said OSHA. What? Darkstar.
The what?
Darkstar mentioned OSHA.
Okay, check.
I forgot what that means, but I know it's like an official.
Do what?
Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Yeah, it's like an official. They go to the hospitals, I thought, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of
like,
which, I
what's
have an
that?
OSHA inspection soon too. I have to freaking worry about.
Caller has
Peace to
no
people.
legal knowledge for looking for a come up. Ricardo, you're looking
Wait,
for
what
a
was
come
that?
up.
Where was that at? I want to see what that is.
You're looking for a come
Where
up.
was that at? Come up on what? YouTube?
Nah, he said caller has no knowledge,
Maybe
looking
change
for
the
a come up.
profession right along
No
with
legal
everyone
knowledge.
else. Wait, damn! You changed all your professions right along. Oh, apparently people have been not listening, drawing conclusions. Oh, I'm not surprised because that's pretty much all I heard all day. But okay.
Lewis Jones, I know you had another name for your channel because there was this one guy. I thought it was you, Lewis. I could be wrong.
Facts.
There was this one
I don't
guy
think
going
you've
hard
heard on
in
the
all the
trial
videos, and then I looked at his channel.
of
This guy had like some crazy video where he's like,
Is to.
"Is this the video?"
You know what? You know who I
Elder
feel sorry
speaks
for
to
right now?
American Negroes.
It's not even you. It's actually for Lacey. Because she's like the only moderator in here trying to calm. She's like that one person trying to calm like two friends from fighting. That's her. Like she's in the middle. Like,
Oh no, Lacey,
please
it's
don't
okay.
fight.
Lacey, no, it's fine. Lacey, I appreciate you. Message me. I spoke to her on Facebook. Lacey, we're cool. I don't mind the people disagreeing, calling us whatever.
Oh heck no, yeah, no,
That's all right.
she's
We're
doing
cool.
fantastic. It's great.
Yeah.
Like
Thank you, Lacey. You've been really
trying,
good. You're cool.
peaceful. She's nice. I like
And I
it.
usually don't even like to have moderators. I usually just let the chat go wild, but she's cool though.
Oh, she's doing a fantastic job.
Black
I've seen
guys,
some.
that's true.
She's taken care of and stuff. It's great. I like it. It's a new environment. It's a different environment. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we gotta do live streams more and piss people off, man. I think we'll make a nice combo. I don't know. Who knows? But
Yeah,
the thing is,
I don't think you want to do
topics
that.
are
I'll
so
probably.
sensitive, you know, like,
Good.
especially this one. Some
See, there's the
people
thing.
just
Like,
really, it's
I
hard
think,
to-
I think people think that I'm one of the other guys that bring on here that have YouTube channels, and then they try to
Yeah,
get
Ricardo
to
has no social
person that has more.
media.
I have
anything.
none. So y'all
He
can
doesn't gain anything
rest
from this.
assured. I have no bone to get.
They
from
think you're
this.
white
I'm literally
too, which
just
is kind of funny to me.
speaking.
They think you're a white.
The
guy.
what?
They think you're white too, which is kind of funny to me.
That's cool. Everybody thinks I'm freaking.
Ricardo's
I don't
white,
know everything else
blue
but
eyes,
white.
blonde
so
hair.
I'm okay with that. Yes, that's me. I am 6'2". I weigh 145 pounds. I have blue eyes, blonde hair, and I have a swastika on my right arm. That's me.
You know what the thing is too? What are are you saying manslaughter also? I didn't even spell manslaughter right, but whatever.
What, me?
Yeah. What's your
No.
prediction?
I don't know. It could be manslaughter, or it could be
Right.
what the hell was that? What was that one person, the gentleman earlier that said she was a different charge? I forget, and I thought that was a little more appropriate.
Oh, the
reckless.
homicidal. Darkstar
no,
said
what
it.
was it?
What is it called? Darkstar. Tasha, you know it. You got it. Hispanic. Well, I
Don't
even
call
know
me
if they consider
Hispanic, bro. I hate that.
It's,
Okay.
well, technically,
not
Hispanic
Hispanic.
is for Spaniards.
Let's be.
It's
I'm
actually-
Brazilian.
you're
Okay.
Brazilian.
I am
Are
Brazilian.
you considered Latino though? Is Brazilian, Portuguese considered Latino? I don't even know if you're considered Latino.
Let's put it to you this way: Americans and American culture only includes anything into Latin America or Latin or anything. If it's good, they say they're Latin. They say they're Latin American. If it's bad, they call them Hispanic or Latin.
There's somebody's asking.
They don't
if you're
ever put
married.
American.
Ooh, are you married, Ricardo?
Oh, well, that's a good question. Depends which country. In Brazil, I am. Here,
Yeah, no, I say manslaughter, man. I'm like confident that that's gonna be manslaughter, and it's not what I feel should be. I'm just saying it based off of what
I don't
I've
know.
seen.
I mean, to be
I say
honest,
manslaughter.
I think I thought initially she was gonna get murdered, but just looking at
I
what they
thought
said,
so murder
I think they
too until I
failed.
saw what was in court. I thought so murder too, and then
Yeah, I think it's very possible that she'll get murdered. I just don't think. I think it will be more of a the jury feeling like it was a murder, But
You know what I
I don't
was
think,
kind
as far
of
as
surprised?
judicially speaking, I think judicially speaking, he didn't do enough to get that charge. But again, especially if the jury is going to be the end all be all, it's going to be literally up to them and what they feel like. If the prosecutor literally tugged at their heartstrings, then yeah, she might get murder. But most likely, if you were just looking at what he presented, she would get manslaughter.
You know what surprised me is that they never mentioned, and this is one of the big things that I was covering, the door lock data for that door. They said that they took out the thing and they sent it to the manufacturer. I guess they weren't able to get any information back on it. I thought that was going to be a big case deal breaker, but nothing. To Nakia that
What do
said,
you,
the door lock data. It's one of the things. It's because it was a key fob, so they wanted to make sure that
yeah.
whether the door was open, whether it was locked, whether she actually inserted her key into the thing or not. They were supposed to
Oh,
send
okay, yeah,
out the
that would have
like
been
the
important. But
yeah.
that's the thing, like that's another thing that I'm saying.
That
Like
was a huge
he
thing
didn't
that
do
I was
that.
talking about, and they
Yeah,
during the
like
trial they didn't
they
mention
didn't
it.
do that.
I was so
Like
surprised about that.
why?
Yeah, that was
Would
one of
you
the big
imagine?
things I was hanging on.
Like imagine. Would you imagine if they realized that the door was locked, or if the thing said that
Yeah,
no, the door was actually locked? Would you imagine if he opened like in answers to things we don't know? Imagine if the door was locked and he actually
open
opened
the
the door
door.
for her and
That
went
could be
back to the
yeah.
couch. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That's things we don't know because they were too busy trying to. She should have known this or training this or training that. They didn't do anything like that.
See, that's what I was saying. Like with the prosecutor, like, and we rarely get to see this live stream court thing where we can watch the video. From what I've seen, compared to like the defense attorney that I saw for James Layritz, he did okay. It wasn't like amazing. The lawyer for James Layritz, like I told you, this dude, James
Uh,
Layritz had alcohol in his body. They literally pulled up the fact that he had a vitamin water and he was drinking it, and that added to the alcohol content in his body, which vitamin water has like a negligible amount of alcohol. Look that up.
mm-hmm.
Negligible amount of alcohol, bro. It's like, what? You'll be surprised what highly paid lawyers, and that's the problem with the system too.
Exactly. They could
People
have.
can't
They
afford
could have.
lawyers. A lot of people, especially in impoverished areas, you can't hire a lawyer, so you get these public defenders that have how many people that they're taking care of at one time, so they can't give you all the care and all that stuff. And let me see, negligible. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Alcohol.
Yeah, I'm just again. Somebody
Alcohol and
asked if I
soda.
was the
Trace amounts.
prosecutor. I don't know.
I have to ask what?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have nearly the amount of information they have. I mean, I definitely. The only thing I criticize them for is the fact that they spend so much time trying to, discredit her. And
Edna brought a
I
really
think,
good point. Edna said, "Do you think the family will sue her civilly to get money from her?" And I don't know if they will, but I say that they totally can, and they
they
should.
can 100%. I don't know how much she can
And
get
from
from
what I've
that because I
heard,
mean she's gonna be. It
when
goes
you go
off
for a
of how
civil
much you
lawsuit,
make.
and from what I heard from civil lawsuit, it's less of a burden of proof when you're going for like a civil thing versus like a murder or manslaughter charge. It's a lot easier to get a
Hmm.
civil lawsuit. So the family could totally go for that. And in one of the video clips that we saw, they said that the family had sued somebody. I don't know.
I mean,
And they were
she
talking
can't
about if
sue
they're going to sue
the
the apartment
police
complex.
department because she was off duty, right?
She was off duty, technically. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
You're going on and off. I don't know if you're talking.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Oh. Let me see.
You there, Mel?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
But yeah, she can't. Like I said, she can't sue the police department because uh she was off duty. Is that right? I mean, I would assume.
I haven't heard any mention of that. All I've heard is like they sued somebody, and there was question whether they were going to sue the apartment complex. So yeah, I mean they totally could. I think the family should go. I think the family should sue whoever they can, man. Go for it. And most likely, whoever it is that they're suing will probably settle out just to not want to deal with whatever they're gonna have to deal with.
I mean, there's other thing that could happen. I mean, obviously none of that will make everything all right,
Of
but
course not. Yeah.
but as far as like, for example, why would a maybe an off-duty police officer should have their gun at the station, not with them. You know, how many times have we seen off-duty police officers do stupid shit? Obviously, not at the point of killing somebody, but you know what I mean. That could be a step in the right direction. But then again, I'm probably the wrong person to even talk about that because I don't believe anybody should have guns. Period. But hey. But again, I don't know. This is a one case. You know,
Yeah.
one thing, and I mentioned this earlier. One thing different changes this whole aspect. Just the door being locked would have changed this whole thing.
I think we're winding down, man. I don't know what else there is. The other thing too with CPR though, isn't it a lot of times like you're hearing people's bones break or something like that when you're performing CPR? Like sometimes you can.
Yes, when you
bones.
perform CPR, the first thing that goes, if you're doing it correctly, is the process.
The what?
And then obviously your ribs and all that.
Yeah, it's not like a smooth,
Xiphoid process
quiet,
breaks.
calm
If
process.
you, especially if you're doing it,
bones
if your hand position is wrong, that shit breaks first.
Oh my god.
And then your ribs obviously break. If you're performing it right, you're always gonna break ribs.
This is his apartment. Amber crying. I don't know. She looks like she's wearing a lot of makeup and stuff, or maybe that's just her face.
Yeah, see, but that's what from Texas, the TY. But the that I don't know about that testimony from the neighbor, because he said that he's gone to the wrong apartment multiple times. Mm-hmm. To me, that right there in itself, as if I was a jury, and I know a lot of people don't like that, I think that way, but if I was one of the jurors and I heard that testimony, along with what I already think, I wouldn't have given her murder already, because again, to me it's plausible that she thought she was in her apartment, and hearing him talk about that where he puts his key in the door, and then when he only realizes that he's in the wrong apartment, when he turns the key, he realized that he's in the wrong apartment. Yeah. That's where I was like, holy crap, because again, she didn't have that luxury where she put the key in there and then try to use it, because when she put the key in there, she went from that to holy shit, my apartment is open, and holy shit, there's somebody in my apartment. So I think if I was a juror already, I'd be like, okay, she didn't mean to.
There was a video I covered too during the whole Botham Jean stuff where there was actually these officers that got the wrong apartment. They had a search warrant and they got the wrong apartment, and they went into the place, and the guy there had a shotgun or a gun or something. He shot the shit out of those cops. One of them got sent to the hospital, and he somehow made it out alive. And this was right after the Botham thing.
Yeah, there was also some. I mean, that's the thing too, and people love generalizing, and I can't blame them, because I mean, so many cops issues are being put out there. For example, there was a cop that opened the door of a house. There was a kid in the living room. He literally, without a warrant, went into the house and shoved this kid in the couch or whatever, and wrestled him for a bit and handcuffed him without a warrant. Went into the house and pulled him out of the house. Wow. And the only reason they know that is because there was a camera in the house. So like, and that's another reason why I was like, you can't hold these officers to some unreasonable, standard.
No, I mean, I've read a lot of stories where cops are just sitting in a car, and people walk up and just shoot.
Do what?
I've heard stories of cops just getting sitting in their car, their patrol car, and just getting shot in her head. I think there was one cop here too in Florida that she came out of her house and they just shot her dead. There's a target on cops too. If I was a cop, man, I'd be so paranoid. I mean, I have my gun
and
cocked and ready the whole time.
Like the worst part, because cops go into a traffic stop or going already on edge, and then you add all this shit that's happening, and then it gets situations even more. You know what I mean? Cops before, like way back when, would go up to your window and just be shooting the shit, and then now because of traffic stops, when they stop you, some dude has drugs and priors and they shoot you. You You weren't ready for that. So now they already go in and alert. And
Right.
again, I keep reiterating the fact that they're human. So you're already in an adrenaline rush because you're stopping and you don't know what you're going to encounter. So you put them,
Let me play this story real quick. A little clip of this. Hang on 1 second.
All right, breaking news off the top here at 5. This is the 2 Prince George's County police officers that were shot last night. That story, they were shot by a man simply trying to protect himself and his daughter.
How can it be in this day and age, in this very year, in this community, that a young man, African American, in his own apartment, is shot and killed by a police officer? And when we all want justice and the facts and the information to make an informed decision, what is released to the public? That he had a small amount of marijuana in his kitchen. How can that be just in this country?
This was actually Beto O'Rourke. He was talking about the Botham Jean stuff, and he was trying to appeal to the masses so that he can run for election now and completely fail like he has done now. But here we go. Before the video starts, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that subscribe button, and even turning on notifications if you want to be updated, I really appreciate it. It helps me reach a broader audience, and it helps the video spread out more. Quick disclaimer, the new incident, the new story, I don't know the races of the cops or the person that got their house busted into, and to me, this is still crazy that this could still happen. And honestly, there should be disciplinary action. They're deciding whether the cops should get disciplinary action. You're not going to believe this. Before we get into what we're going to talk about, I just kind of want to quickly to say that there was another incident where cops got the wrong apartment. There was like a search warrant issue, but it was the wrong address. The guy was defending himself. He shot some of the cops. I guess they were injured. What the heck is going on? The guy was in there with his daughter. So, I have a daughter, so I'm thinking too, it makes me a little bit more personal for me too. It just kind of makes me think like, yo, this is getting crazy. Like, this is the new things now. Botham Jean, right? And like, okay, that's one incident, right? Okay, that's the whole getting to somebody's house, the cops knocking and killing you. One person, okay, this is like a unique incident, but now they almost killed somebody else. It happened again. What happens if the cops would have killed him and killed that little girl? How would this be spun? They're going to do a search warrant. They're going to search his house. Check the clip out.
Police say the officers mistakenly showed up at the home in Forestville last night to execute a warrant at a home, but it turns out the suspect did not live there. As a result, the homeowner who shot and wounded the officers while defending his child will not be charged.
So thankfully he's not charged, but it's still not even about that, because it's like, yeah, of course he shouldn't be charged, but the point is, what if he was killed and the cops ran in there and they almost killed him and he almost killed the cops? Apparently they issued a search warrant for a place they thought that the person was selling drugs, and they got the wrong apartment, huh? Right after this whole incident with Botham Jean, the cops get the wrong apartment again and damn near kill somebody with a child in the house. That's what the problem is.
Nonetheless, the preferential treatment of the officer by the criminal justice system in this brown or blue, and then the smear funeral against thinking.
Botham Jean's apartment show whether Guyger unlocked the door on her. Oh, here's the door lock data though. Let me play this a little bit. This is what I thought was going to be the big deal breaker, but they never brought it up during the trial, it seems. Retrieve data from it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. The company that manufactured it, they can retrieve data from it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm wondering what the results are going to be. It's probably going to take some time, and it's probably something that they're not even going to tell us. It's probably going to be taken to court. So they're saying that the report could or should show whether Guyger unlocked the door on her own before going into Jean's apartment. It would also show whether she placed the key into Jean's door, that's pretty big. It's unclear whether the data would show whether Jean unlocked the door from the inside around the time of the shooting. If data stored inside the lock does show Jean's door that was locked, it would support statements by Jean's family attorney who witnesses say they heard banging on the door, let me in, let me in. So alternatively, the data, see, that was a big thing too. There's witness statements, whatever, they heard banging. I thought the door lock data was going to be huge. Has anybody heard anything about the door lock data? Nothing. I could show the door was unlocked and ajar, as Guyger told the police. So this is really interesting. I hope that they're able to find something from this and get it to the right people and that it goes to court. And I doubt they're going to let us know about it, like I was saying. And another update, Dallas Chief Police Hall. She says that she can't fire Guyger. And here's her reasons why. And there's people that disagree with her. So she said here in some sort of, I guess it was a town hall. It was a town hall meeting. She said, I can't do that because local, state, and federal laws that prohibit me from taking action. There are civil services we have to adhere to, said Hall. There was an attorney there, a civil rights attorney, Justin Moore, that he doesn't believe that. And what Justin said here was that I was completely mystified and I really did. All right, whatever. So there was a whole bunch of drama going on during that time. with both of them, John. But yeah, that door lock data, to me, that was a huge thing that got completely left out. So I'm assuming that they weren't able to extract any information from that door lock data. I look horrible right now. I'm look savage. Dealing with too many problems. I have a child and a crazy somebody. That yeah. You gotta go. Oh, thanks, Lacey. The black cop was charged in the incident. I am tired, man. I'm gonna get to sleep. Are you still there, Ricardo? Can you hear me? I'm gonna get some sleep,
I'm
man.
here.
I'm really tired.
I just was looking at the whole door thing and that. Yeah. So I don't know.
Don't say anything else. I'm gonna get some rest, man. I know if I start Ricardo, we're gonna go into another 30-40 minute conversation.
Yeah, let's not. I'm fucking dying.
Yo, thank you guys for the stream. I had a good time. Thank you, Ricardo. Take care. Don't lose sleep over Ricardo's comments.
All right, man.
Peace.